Hello friends, and welcome back to our YouTube channel Gadget Rishi. In today's video we are going to see the assembly process of the starting gear valve for the main engine, individual units. This is one such valve which has been dismantled and kept for inspection. This is the valve spindle which contains the main valve itself. The valve has been carefully lapped to ensure a good seal against the valve seat which is inside the body of the starting valve. This is the 3x2 way valve actuated by a solenoid which gives the actuating signal for the pilot air. This is the main starting gear valve body and the valve seat. The whole assembly has been mounted on a turning table. This is a special tool or a special device which we use for overhaul and dismantling or assembling of the starting gear valve. All the internal surfaces have been carefully cleaned. And now we are ready to mount the valve spindle. So we apply the molybdenum disulfide or moly coat in simple terms to the sealing surfaces. And then we will turn our turning table to insert the valve spindle from underneath. Now we put a piece of wood so that as we turn the table back to the vertically correct position, the valve spindle should not drop off or fall down. So as you can see, there is a small gap, so the spindle has come down. We need to cover up this gap, so I put additional wood pieces to cover up for that gap. So make sure the valve is carefully closing against the valve seat and it is in position. The next step is to mount the spring, and finally the piston. This is the air piston which sits on the top. So again, lubricate the sealing surfaces with molybdenum disulfide moly coat and align the two holes with the holes on the spindle so that the two bolts, the securing bolts, can be carefully installed. Pay attention that the bolts have to be finely secured with the locking plate. So make sure the bolts, before the bolts are inserted, the locking plate is in place. So we tighten the bolts in sequence gradually. As you tighten, it compresses the air piston against the spring. So we have to do in steps. We don't have to overdo any one bolt. We will do in steps, equal steps, making sure that the piston smoothly goes down and compresses the spring evenly. We have to continue doing so until it is no further possible to turn the bolts, and the checkpoint is that the piston will be flush with the body. Finally, we will check the tightness using a hammer just to be sure that the bolts are all the way tight. And once we are sure, then we will secure the locking plate in position to lock against the bolts. So this will prevent any accidental opening of the bolts. Finally, we put the top cover and we will secure it with the bolts. and just tighten the bolts, and our starting gear valve is assembled and ready for testing. Now the next step is how do we test. So we have to connect air pressure on top, and with that 7 bar air pressure the valve should be able to open, and we have to see that the spindle is opening about 10 to 15 mm at least, and we have to repeat this test 5-6 times, making sure there is smooth operation, and every time that the spindle is coming down it is going up by the spring force, and it is making a good seal. Once the starting gear valve is fully assembled, we just have to mount the 3x2A valve assembly on top of it. So make sure the O-rings are in good condition. It is good practice to always renew the O-ring, lubricate them before mounting. Connect the 3x2A valve on top, and finally we connect the actuator, which is actuated by the solenoid valve, which gets controlled by the control system for the starting gear system. That completes the assembly. We hope you are enjoying watching the videos we post on our YouTube channel Gadget Rishi, and stay subscribed for more.